Welcome back. Here's a review of what we discussed in our last video on Fate. Last time we talked about how fate and the Wheel of Fortune impacted Edmund's character. One could say he started at the bottom of the wheel, worked his way to the top only to fall to the bottom again. In contrast to Edmund, King Lear started metaphorically on the top of the wheel and worked his way to the bottom. Yet, both characters are similar in that they exercise free will and die in the end. We already defined fate and the Wheel of Fortune, but now it is time to define free will. This is the ability to choose between different possible courses of action. It is a counterpoint to fate because while supernatural forces may control fate, free will is one's ability to control their own future. Lear uses free will when he decides to divide his kingdom between his daughters to remain in power. Yet, it is his madness that blinds him from seeing Cordelia's love, which ultimately affects his future. This madness is out of Lear's control, and therefore is an example of fate because it sends Lear on a path of uncertainty and oblivion. In Lear's blow-win speech, his fate and use of free will become clearer. Lear says, "Blow, winds, and crack your cheeks. Rage, blow, you cataracts and hurricanes. But yet I call you servile ministers, that will with two pernicious daughters join." This shows how Lear wishes the gods will punish his daughters and restore power to Lear. This speech is more so an example of Lear's inability to see that it is his own fault, not his daughters, that he is in his situation. Going back to the theme, Lear does not take responsibility for his predicament and continues to insist that it is his evil daughters. In reality, it is because Lear's ego got in the way of his ability to be logical. According to literary critic Michael Blintz, only Lear's awareness of his own guilt expresses itself in his madness and reveals a soul tormented by his own denial of truth. Unlike Edmund or Gloucester, Lear does not fully disregard his wrongdoings. This may be why his fate, or death really, is not violent like the other characters in the play. So what exactly is Lear's fate? Aside from death, it is coming to the conclusion that all truth in the world is dead. Cordelia, a character whose candidness could make her a symbol for truth, has passed in Lear's journey with Edgar, and the Fool made him realize that being a corrupt, power-hungry king is meaningless without love and honesty. That being said, Lear's fate was a product of unexplainable forces, his madness, and human action, his ego and stubbornness as king. Bye.